Haven't you learned anything?
Man, our school shit is a joke. The same people who control the school system control the prison system. Man, our school shit is a joke. The same people who control the school system control the prison system. And remember to cancel
those subscriptions, okay? Get rid of that subscription to White Supremacy Weekly. Get rid of that subscription to Eurocentric Thought Monthly. Put them away, cancel it, burn it, do what you gotta do. But I promise you, you're gonna need to open up that third eye when you hear me. As usual, Black love, pride, and power to my people, y'all. Repping my Black owned and operated, you know, Ankh and Black Power Fist. I got my Black owned and operated Free Breakfast Apparel t-shirt or hoodie from freebreakfastapparel.com. Proceeds go to feeding kids in urban communities. Guess what kind of kids live in urban communities? Not a kid anymore, but I did. Born in Long Beach, raised in Compton, so I know all about the necessity of these programs and stuff. You know, I'm also a big fan of the Black Panthers and a lot of things they did for the community. And the Free Breakfast program is a continuation of their legacy as well. Necklaces, Shades of Africa with the K, in Long Beach, 1001 East 4th Street, Long Beach, California. You can also call. They have an online website, but their apparel is not sold on the website, so you have to call Renee, tell her I sent you, and let her know what you need. Everything from mud cloth to dashikis to paintings, art, natural hair care products, oils, incense, books, damn near you name it, jewelry, they got it. Bags, I can't even. They got literally everything in there. You know, shea butter and etc. You know, and also Renee's really helpful. And it's always coming at you with some real. You always learn something new when I talk to Renee. Anywho, for today's segment, excuse me momentarily, I am gonna need you guys to bear with me, okay? Just hear me out. Just hear me out. I want to tell you guys why I am dropping out of Washington State University and will not be returning to school as far as I can see in the near future, period. My family gonna kill me, y'all. Let me give you a little backdrop, okay? I am the product of 2 teenage parents. My dad turned 18 2 weeks after I was born. My mom was 16, just turned 17 shortly before I was born. And neither of them finished high school. My dad recently got his GED and literally only missed 3 questions on the entire test. My mom said she has her GED, and I'm going to choose to believe her. With that being said, I have 2 very bright parents. I have really smart family and all that kind of stuff. And I've never, ever had an issue in school as far as academics goes. I've always been above and beyond excelling, all that kind of stuff. The only thing is, when it came to this idea of continuing after high school, I was just trying to make it through high school. I never really thought past high school because I never really had anybody to push me to think past high school. And then on top of that, you know, all my parents' stories were from high school. Everybody expected me to go to college. Everybody just assumed I was going to go. But I don't know how they thought I was going to magically just appear here, you know, with no one to show me about SATs and application deadlines and what scholarships to look for and things of that nature. I had no clue what would happen once I graduated. I just said, okay, well, graduated high school, I guess I got to do something. So I went to community college for my first year and decided to start looking into universities to eventually transfer to. And because of, and strictly off of word of mouth, I promise you, I've never really had much of necessary interest in any of the schools in Washington, and I've only had a minuscule interest in some of the schools in California. But my best friend at the time wanted to play football here, and that was like his life dream. And so I said, I guess I'll go there. So and that's what happened. Ended up at Washington State University. Transferred with a 4.0, you know, I thought I was really doing something because I got into university, but then I realized WSU is cool and all, but it's not like USC or nothing from what I know. Because I've never been to USC, but it's not very hard to get into, apparently, at all. Anyways, aside from that, that's how basically I ended up here. Um, Before I get into all of my reasons why I say absolutely fuck this institution and any institution like it, I want them all to burn to the ground, or actually, it's not even, yeah, no, eventually it'll be that necessary, but the point is, African people, diasporically and continentally, do not belong in any form, shape, or form of their education system. Not pre-K, not elementary, not middle school, not high school, and especially not university. If you made it this far, I'm sorry. Anyways, good news. Since I've been here, I've been in my own apartment with one roommate last year, one roommate this year, and the living conditions, the fact that I'm living away from the toxic environment of my mom's house and the polluted environment of my dad's. You know, I was able to actually move out and discover who I am, because my entire life I found myself trying to be who everyone else wanted and needed me to be. Because of the environments that I was in, I could never really focus on or develop me, especially because the things that were unique to me weren't always the most promoted or accepted in the household. For example, my quirky ways, or like me wanting to wear my natural hair or dress distinctly, or my interest in certain things just were not common in the households that I lived in. And because I was able to move out, be in my own space, be in control of my own space, being able to do what I wanted to do, I was able to flower, flourish, and really grow into the person that you see on your laptop or computer or whatever you're watching me on. With that being said, I've also got to meet some very amazing people that I don't think I would have met if it wasn't for this specific location. But simultaneously, those two things are great and all. And the fact that even though I had to take out a couple of loans, financial aid did cover a lot, so I was able to afford housing and stuff. It's a lot less economically initially. It's a lot less stressful staying at a university. But getting out of the house and meeting new people, two things I could have done without having to take out X amount of money in loans and dealing with the bullshit. Those are things I could have done for a lot cheaper elsewhere. So the only beneficial things I got from being at university, I could have gotten anywhere, and I didn't have to be at Washington State University in order to obtain or achieve these things. So on to the problems with this institution. For those who do not know, I am an education major, a secondary English teacher, and have grown to hate the English language. That's my business. I don't speak this by choice. That's why I'll speak it however I want to. Anywho, as an education major, I'm coming to this university so that they can teach me how to teach. Mind you, I've been teaching since about the 3rd grade. I kid you not, taking over classrooms, tutoring older kids, the list just goes on. Education has been my game in multiple subjects, but especially math and English since I was in the 3rd grade. Pretty good at what I do. There are a lot of people who will not understand things or not be able to do things, but the way I break it down, etc., is very helpful to them in their form of learning. My goal was to teach, and still is to teach, African people in African communities like the ones I grew up in, etc. My number one issue with especially being at this university is that my education is not education. They're training me to continue the colonization of my people. And I'm not for that. I'm becoming a teacher to liberate my people, not colonize them. Everything from the literature that I have to promote, everything from the styles of learning and teaching, everything from what is chosen to be taught and what isn't, is all planned out already. and there's no room for negotiation. They're literally teaching me how to continue the colonization of my people. And having been through high school, having been through middle school and elementary school in this country, and I'm sure anybody in the world, that stuff's not beneficial. It's not. And I didn't have to come here to learn how to do what they do, because I didn't seen it firsthand and experienced it by being a student. So that's the number one reason why I am choosing to drop out of university, is because, one, they can't teach me how to teach African people, because everything has nothing to do with African people. Even my African American Studies class, African American Studies was founded by a white man. And then the black people who contributed to it were the upper bourgeoisie class, who had their little teaspoon of privilege or whatever, and was trying to, develop a whole field of study from their minute perspective. And then the couple of real ones that you have, we get told in class about how their views aren't valid and why we should not listen to those African people. And I know this from, I've been sat in the classrooms. They make sure you learn Shakespeare, they make sure you learn Victorian literature and all this kind of stuff. They make you take one diversity class for diversity readings and stuff. But even still, when you're asked your teachers, what about, why can't, or can I promote these books or whatever, or can I, designing curriculums, etc. They give you the if you have time. And most likely you won't have time. How do I know? Because I've been in high school, elementary, middle school, and I ask my teachers all the time, hey, when will we learn about this? Why don't we learn about that? We don't have time. What educators choose to make time for is not just up to the educators, but also up to the system that defines and structures the educators. I have absolutely no desire to teach in any school, public or private, in America, unless it is completely separate from the government, Black owned and operated by and for African people, which is why I'm going to be creating my own schools. Instead of sitting in a classroom getting told by Europeans about how I do not use English to their standard, whether it be oratorily or whether it be handwritten or anything of that nature, and being judged by a standard that is not by or for me, is bullshit. I was gonna say I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna apologize. Being judged by a standard that is not by or for you, they can't judge you. These people cannot grade me because their standards are not by and for African people. These people cannot tell me how to speak or judge my work or critique my language and my use thereof, because it is not by and for African people. The standards are not my own. So not only am I continuing my own colonization by continuing at university, I'm also learning to colonize and futurely oppress my people. That's it. That's a problem. My next problem with university is the fact that the only class that you can kind of take without dealing with bullshit is a math class, because everything else it's all bullshit. It's all manipulated. It's all half truths. If you get half of a truth, most of it is lies. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I'm not uneducated. That piece of paper that you get at the end, that degree, is a colonization certificate. It's a colonization completion certificate. And I personally do not wish to receive one. For what? So I can say I did it? So that when I go and beg a European for a job that I still might not get, then I have a piece of paper saying that I'm worth something, when really that's not what it means? The fact that I think the statistics are now 86% of university graduates are going to have to move back in with their parents and will not have employment immediately after school. 86% will not have employment. And then those that do have employment will not have employment in their field. I spent the last 4 years doing what? I came here to get a degree, to get a job in a specific field, and I can't do that because this whole thing was a waste of my time and bullshit. Meanwhile, the people who didn't even finish high school have gained the experience that I've lost being here at this institution. And then on top of that, are more properly trained or just damn near starting up their own shit. I am a full advocate of African people doing things by and for ourselves. I'm a full advocate of us not going and trying to get good jobs under some European or anybody else, but creating our own jobs, creating our own businesses, creating our own institutions. And the only people who can judge your shit is you. The only people who can critique your stuff is you. The only people who can apply a standard to you or hold you to a standard or a code or whatever, or do anything of that nature is your people. Just being in America, period, is hard enough to deal with university. And then on top of that, oh, here's more. The money. Yeah, it's cool getting your little financial aid immediately and stuff, and it's real comfortable here too. I'm not gonna lie, when I'm not in them bullshit classrooms, it's really comfortable in the house. But I need to take my ass back to the plantation because this house stuff is tricky and it's temporary. And Master always wanted shit back. With that being said, the loans, a lot of people are like, oh, you only have 1 year left, you might as well just finish, etc., etc. Because the longer I stick around, the longer I'm going to owe these people. The longer I'm going to be an indentured servitude, if that's how you want to put it. Not only are you kicking my ass back out to the field, but I still got to pay you for my time spent in the house. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. I'm supposed to get a degree to live with my mom again, which I came to school to get away from, to have to work at a warehouse somewhere in California, to pay back loans or survive. And then when you don't start paying back those loans, interest racks up, but they want you to give more money, which if I didn't have the money in the first place, why are you charging interest? I'm not gonna have, that's not gonna make money appear. I never got that charging interest thing. When someone doesn't have the money, normally if they had it, they pay you. And if they don't have it, charging them more money doesn't sound like the solution to the fact that they don't have any money. But that's how credit cards work, that's how banks work, that's how interest works, that's how loans work. And even some grants want you to pay a certain other portion of the grants back, which if it's a grant, it's kind of supposed to be free money. There's no such thing as that here, so it's out the window. Anywho, you gotta leave here eventually. So to all my brothers and sisters, like, oh, you might as well finish, you might as well stick it out, you only have 1 more year, 1 more semester, whatever the case is. You have to go. You cannot stay in university forever. You cannot. You can't. So this kind of lifestyle that you're not quite ready to leave yet, you gotta go eventually. And the longer you stay, the worse it's going to be when you leave. I wish I saw things the way I see things now. I wish I knew everything that I knew now before I decided to transfer to university. Hell, before I even did my first year at a JC. I wish I knew what I knew now, because the time that I spent here in Pullman, Washington, where Trump rallies and Confederate flags are a regular sight to see, where all lives matter and other racist bullshit and prejudiced teachers and faculty and staff and store workers and all that kind of stuff is my reality. I wish I would have known all that I know now. I wish I would have sat down and really thought about it with my third eye vision before actually coming here, simply because that's time I could have spent in the streets. Putting in work with it. The time I spent here, I could have been back in LA somewhere, back in Watts, Inglewood, Compton, Long Beach, starting up programs already. Being more involved in my community, which I do go home, and I go home often, and I go home for large chunks of time, but there's only so much I can do with a month and a half for a winter break. There's only so much I can do for a summer vacation. I've been up here. If I stuck around a little bit longer, it'd be going on 3 years. And the in between times of going home is not enough to establish that presence that is necessary for me to be the influence I need to be in my community. And I'll go and I'll start setting stuff up and I'll start influencing people and I'll start programs, but I can't be there to finish them because I have to hop on a plane and come back to Pullman, Washington to deal with more bullshit. The time I've spent here has almost taken away from the time that should have been devoted to my people. And for those people out there who are like, oh, just get your people, learn what you need to learn from them, and then you don't use it. It's some bullshit. This system is built off of our oppression. There are no rules to this game except for keep them down. So I can get 72 degrees. I can be here for the rest of my life learning the white man's game and go out there and try and do something with it, and it never matters because the rules are keep them down. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you know. You can't, if the system is built off of your oppression, then there is absolutely no way for you to defeat the system within the system. The structure, the foundation, the very core of it is built off of you being at the bottom. The only way to destroy the system is to completely destroy the system from the foundation, from scratch. There is no going through the system to defeat the system. The system is garbage. It's trash. It's ass. It needs to go. It's not good for anybody, but especially not for African people. Period. So this whole get your piece of paper, learn their ways. I'm like, I've been in school from what, 5 to 18? They're not complicated. They're very simple people, I promise you. Going to school to be a teacher and then spending most of your life around teachers in the education system and all kinds of stuff, shadowing, teaching your damn self, being a student, etc. You don't think I know? I've spent my entire life, I've spent my entire educational career, except for this past year and a half, because I said, fuck all this shit, and I've been making sure that I'm educating myself, buying for my people, and doing a lot more in the Black community here, however tiny it is. But I've spent my whole life learning these people's ways. Hello? What do you think the education system does? You don't learn anything. Nothing for you. They're training you to be someone else's slave. The whole working for wages, yes, we are not in chattel slavery where we don't receive compensation, but then we received housing and shelter, etc. But it's just the flip side now. Now we receive compensation, but can barely keep a roof over our head, struggling to eat and all that other kind of bullshit. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want my kids to be a slave. And I don't want them to go through an education system that only trains them to do what? Be slaves. Lose your self-identity. Don't learn nothing or anything really about yourself. What we do give you is bullshit. Learn everything by and for us so that you can go to school a little further after this or go straight to work and work for somebody. The whole thing is to train you to work for other people. Then that's if they give you a job. And of course, you're not going to get paid fairly regardless. Because say they do hire you, Black man, Black woman, you're still not going to receive the same compensation as that. Say they do hire you, Black man with a master's degree. You're still going to get paid less than that European man with a GED. And even he's getting paid garbage for the work he's doing. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. The whole system is bullshit. This whole education system is beneath me. It's insulting. And I refuse to put this further on myself or my people for no beneficial. There are no benefits. I have no intention on working for any Eurocentric education system. I have no intention on working for any education system within the system. Period. I will work with my community. I will go back to teaching at boys and girls clubs and youth centers, and I will start up my own programs and do what I gotta do while figuring out a side hustle on the side so I can keep something in my belly and save up to move to Macon, Georgia, where I will start opening up my own schools. Now, my dad seems to think that I've been here and completely wasted my time. That's false. He seems to think that I've been here and have not done nothing, just been sitting in my apartment all day. That is also false. I've managed to do a lot to impact my community, both here and across America, since I've been here. Now, this isn't the portion where I pat myself out in the back or brag, but this is the portion where I tell you what I've done instead. I didn't just say fuck the system and sat and became a couch potato. I said fuck the system. This is what I'm going to do about it. This is what I'm going to do for my people instead. So instead of writing papers for these professors, only for them to go and dock me 10 points because I said did not or didn't instead of did not, completely forgetting the context of my paper, instead of doing that bullshit, I've been writing my own research papers. I've been writing my own analysis and theses and things of that nature. Instead of reading the bullshit books that they want to charge me over $500 a semester, it cost me $200 for a math book last semester. I had to pay what, $300 for literature, for just literature, not forget the math books, for just the literature for my young adult lit class, where we learned about every kind of person in young adult literature except for Black people. We even got a book about a mixed girl. I'm not mixed. My kids won't be mixed. My sisters are not mixed. My brothers are not mixed. My cousins, as far as I know, because I don't know absolutely all my cousins, but I'm pretty sure none of us are mixed from what I know. Maybe some distant stuff. I got a Black family. The kids I grew up with, very few of them are mixed. The neighborhoods I grew up in, very few are mixed. What's one book, if you gotta tell me your curriculum about one mixed girl and her white best friend? How is that supposed to help me? This required young adult literature class that wanted me to buy 13 books that came up to about $300. And my ass not thinking initially, went and bought the first like 6 or 7 of them. And then going through the class, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna buy any more books. And I didn't. And guess what? My professor was convinced that I had read every single book. Why? Because it's not hard to wait until second or third to raise your hand after listening to the pieces that other people said and then giving a detailed analysis and putting shit together and making it sound good. So that $160, $170 I spent on them first 6 books, kind of wish I had it back now. Really do. Because it's ridiculous. I'm able to write a full analysis on a book I've never read just based off of a classroom discussion. So instead of continuing to read the bullshit that they wanted me to read, what I did was I used my financial aid money this semester and whatever extra money I got last semester and whatever donations I could receive to buy books by and for African people. Titles like Black on Black Violence or crime, yeah. Black on Black Violence, which actually is an excellent read, and I lent out my copy and it had great notes in it, and the boy never returned shit, and then I had to get a whole brand new copy, start it all over again, to buy things like The Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, to get things like, what else is over there? Metu Netter, The Comedic Diet, the Afro-Vegan cookbook, which I'm really huge on health and promoting healthy lifestyles and living so we can live longer and look better or be healthy on the inside and outside as a people. I have all kinds of books over there. I got the Malcolm X Portable Reader that has all of his speeches, all of his documents, all his everything in there. I got Maya Angelou. I've got, the new Jim Crow. I've got titles, y'all. And I've only got about maybe 40 or 50 books right now. And I continue to receive more donations, and I'm going to continue to buy more books. But the point of the matter is, instead of spending all this money reading they bullshit, spending all this money not only helping our Black community with our economic status, the best I can as a broke college student, but also educating myself up here, continuing to further my own education, do my own notes and analysis on these things and whatnot, so that I know what I'm talking about when I'm going and teaching the youth. When I'm going and standing in front of BSU, or when I'm going and I'm, you know, sitting in the African American Student Center, spitting knowledge and stuff. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm spending my time doing. Reading stuff by and for African people, educating myself on myself. I'm doing performances with spoken word pieces and music that is not only uplifting to the Black community, but also always has a deep, powerful message for us. I really need to start putting my poetry on here for real, because like I think it's good stuff. And I created a fan base here. People really like my work. You know, I've been involved in Black Student Union. I've been involved with African Friendship Association. My Congolese video here is only one of 2 performances that I did at this school year. And last school year I did 2 performances as well, Congo and Ghanaian, which is interesting because it turns out I'm Congolese, Ghanaian, and Nigerian. And then last year I did a Congolese and Ghanaian dance, and then this year I did a Congo one again. And I did another one completely off the vision. I'm gonna have it up here soon, I promise. It won't be the original performance, but it'll be something that we was able to throw together last minute before I had to go back to California. So, but the point of the matter is, that's what I've been doing. I've been having the freshman and sophomore come here and just have rap sessions and kicking knowledge to them. I have a Feed a Freshman Foundation, which my roommate who just moved out today was helping me fund, to where I was making sure that all the Black students who couldn't, or who either ran out of RDA or just needed a home cooked meal or whatever, they were eating good and healthily. You know, everything from promoting healthier alternative lifestyles, all that kind of stuff. I've been putting in work here. You know, I got a box that I'm about to ship off to Monday, because Sunday is tomorrow and the post office will be closed, of stuff that I got me and like 3 other students to raise to send to Flint, Michigan. You know, the list goes on. The list goes on of things that I'm still able to do, even though it's much more small scale. And because of age difference and all that kind of stuff, and how far along you've gotten, it's hard to reach those who've reached the seasoned age. Once you've been conditioned to a certain point, it's really hard to break through to that. So just even that battle here has made it, it's why I have not been able to do as much for the African community here as I would have liked to. But even still, I've been doing everything I can. Training up those who are interested, teaching them self-defense, karate and general self-defense moves. And then on top of that, helping them to train in arms or get registered to get guns, etc. Not because we're gonna go and take over the school and shoot up everybody, but because, did I mention that a Confederate flag and a vote for Trump sign is a regular sight here? I'm not safe. I'm not. Period. I don't feel safe. And if every other person in the state of Washington who don't look like me can own a gun and stuff, or know self-defense, and it's okay, then you know what? Fuck you. I'm not gonna be the one bringing the fist to a gunfight, and you're not just gonna kill my ass. Yes, I will learn how to defend myself. Yes, I will promote to my brothers and sisters to defend yourself and not hands up, don't shoot. It's bullshit. Get your life. Get your life if you expect me to be on some bullshit like that. I'm sorry. Born in Long Beach, raised in Compton. I ain't on no bitch shit. Period. You not just gonna sit here and okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, y'all. I be done went home for a second and came back. My bad. The point of the matter is such. I am dropping out of university with 1 year left because I've been unplugged from the matrix. To keep it simple, I've been unplugged. I know what it is. And I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I refuse to be a part of it anymore. I will not subject my peers or the futures of our people to being a part of it anymore. And I will do everything I can to give our people, especially those willing, an alternative to where they will not be subject to such. I do think, aside from what is perpetuated in the home by parenting, kids spend a lot of their time at school. And they spend a lot of their time being conditioned at these educational systems, whether it be at any level, collegiate, secondary, primary, it doesn't matter. You're being conditioned. And I want to live in a world where my kids and my kids and their friends and their cousins and shit don't have to deal with the same bullshit I had to go through. Don't have to wait until they're almost 21 to realize this some bullshit, I've wasted my life. I want them to be able to grow up in an education system where the people in the books look like them, where the people in the books sound like them, where the material that they're reading, where what they're writing about, and the way they write, and their phonetics and all that kind of stuff is by and for them, where they're learning tangible things that will actually help them and help our people in a united whole when they leave school. The schools that I'm working on creating, I already have standards and curriculum from 1st grade to 11th grade. By the time you finish elementary school, you will be writing in English, judged based off of the standard by and for you. And you will be speaking, I'm thinking Yoruba, because it's a common West African language, and a lot of Africans here and diasporically are West Africans, but it also may be Swahili, because Swahili is a language widely spoken around Africa. So if you go to, say, Kenya, but then you go to South Africa, and say you go to, you know, I don't know, Somalia or something, you'll still be able to communicate. The point of the matter is, by the time you finish elementary school, you will be speaking a continental language, and you will be speaking, you will be judged off of English based off of our own standard. By the time you finish elementary school, you will know about our own spiritual systems. You will know self-defense at the basic level. And then on top of that, you will know things like farming and how to grow our own food. Why? Because the schools I open up will have a community garden where it is a classroom requirement for 3rd through 5th grade to put in work in that garden. So not only do you know how to grow your own food, but guess what? That food you're eating in the cafeteria, homegrown. No GMOs, no extra hormones, by and for you, good on the inside. My biggest setback, I think, will be getting, because a lot of parents, especially Black parents, will want their kids to come to the school, but this is not a daycare center. It's not. I'm not here to keep your kids and raise them for you. I will only accept students whose parents will be involved as well, and like really involved. Involved with the children and their academic success, involved with the upkeeping and the maintenance of the school, etc. We're going to need some volunteer hours from these parents. Just period. It's not for nothing, I promise. It's going to be extremely hard for me these next 2 years. But guess what? I grew up struggling. Anybody who know me, anybody who know Black people, but especially know me, knows that I struggle. It's kind of what I do. And I used to hate that about myself, that anytime I'm telling a story that I've learned to smile or laugh about, everybody's looking at me like, damn, that shit was fucked up. And like, that used to be something that really bothered me, but you know what? It's prepared me. The life I've had to live, the things I've had to go through and deal with has prepared me for the fact that now I have a reason to struggle. A legitimate reason to struggle. And it's not just for me, and it's not just for my family, but it's for the future of my people. And I think it'll be worth it. It's gonna be tough the next 2 years. I'm gonna deal with a lot of bullshit. I'm gonna be nice and hungry, as usual. The least hungry I've been in a while is being at university, and this year, and that's mostly thanks to my roommate Marcus. So, yeah, it's nothing new. And again, I gotta leave here eventually. Even if I graduated next year, hell, even if I did what I was supposed to do and graduated this year, I gotta go. Everybody has to leave. And when you leave, how thick and long them strings that are attached are, it's completely up to you. I'm personally choosing to cut it. This bullshit way too high. I need to cut it. Yes. It's time for me to go. So, with that being said, as usual, Black love, pride, and power. Hopefully you guys have really heard me. I almost guarantee anything you can say on why I should stay or whatever, I've heard it and I've combated it, and there's really not much to say. However, your own personal thoughts and opinions on the education system, whether you chose to complete it or not, and things of that nature, feel free to comment below. I love to hear your guys' views on the subject personally, your personal views and whatnot, and your personal choices as well. Also, if you know of any predominantly Black group homes or Boys and Girls Club centers or whatever located in the greater IE area, Inland Empire area in California, because that's where my mom has recently moved to, that's where I'll be staying for a while, please let me know, because I need to get back to our people. I got work to do. I've wasted too much time. So, with that being said, as usual, Black love, pride, and power. You know, remember to
human beings. They schools can't teach us shit. My people need freedom. We trying to get all we could get. All my high school teachers could suck my dick, telling me white man lies, straight bullshit. They trying to get all we could get. All my high school teachers could suck my dick, telling me white man lies, straight bullshit.
Hello guys, welcome back again, and remember to cancel those subscriptions, okay? Get rid of that subscription to White Supremacy Weekly. Get rid of that subscription to Eurocentric Thought Monthly. Put them away, cancel it, burn it, do what you gotta do. But I promise you, you're gonna need to open up that third eye when you hear me. As usual, Black love, pride, and power to my people, y'all. Repping my Black owned and operated, you know, Onk and Black Power Fist. I got my Black owned and operated free breakfast